Hey, I'm over here. My name's Anwar. I'm a dating coach for Black women. And so often I hear about Black women who are just focused on dating Black men. And I wanted to break down the numbers because I was an undergrad statistics major. So I look up at love quantitatively and qualitatively. So I wanted to break it down to let you know how difficult you are making your love life be just by focusing on Black men. Okay? So for every 100 men, 13% of those men are Black. So you have 13 men out of 100. Now, 80% of those guys are not going to be ready for a relationship. That's across the board. Any color of guy, they're just not going to be ready if they're single. Yeah, so we go from 13 to 3. Now, if we take into account unemployment, underemployment, gay, and in prison, you are looking at 2 out of every 100 men, 2 Black men out of every 100 men that are going to be bare minimum available for a relationship. So that's 1 out of 50, okay? 1 out of 50. Now, I want to talk about the talented 10th qualities that so many of you all are looking at, right? He's got to be 6 feet or taller. He's got to have a graduate degree, 6 figures. When you have that criteria, you are looking at 1 out of every 250 men, okay? Now, if you just look at everybody, right, and you do the same math, the same statistics, 1 out of every 7 guys is ready for a relationship. So if you're focusing on just Black guys, bare minimum, it's 7 times harder. If you are focused on the talented 10th, you are making it 35 times harder to get your guy. We get to do it easier. And if you want to learn how to do this well, girl, you better talk to me. Now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If you want to keep on making love hard, girl, by all means, it's your love life. Get your life. There are non-Black men checking for you, and you get to make this love life thing much easier by opening and widening your net and just focusing on the men that are going to treat you the best, regardless of what color they are. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is this going to convince you to date everybody? Please say yes.
When you see a white man who's dating a Black woman, whether they're married, engaged, dating XYZ, you already know that man does not play about his woman. That man does not play about his woman. Because, listen, I'm married to a white man. Obviously, if you've been following me, you know this. If you're new, hi, hello. That man does not play about me. That man does not play about me. It's kind of crazy. There's just something very specific about white men who have their Black queens, and baby, everybody is happy, everybody is thriving. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. This is for a very specific group of people. I know not everybody's going to agree with this message, but there's just something about a white man who loves his Black queen. And if you're in one of those relationships, let's see it below. He don't play about me, baby. So, why are the white men with black women relationships so successful? This is a question that I think a lot of people are thinking about, especially as black women are potentially navigating into being open to dating outside of their race. But I'm going to give you my personal thoughts, theory on this. Also, if any of you guys follow Anwar, he's a dating coach on here. I love him, and as someone who creates content in the dating space, he preaches to black women to be dating white men. And while I preach go where you were loved, there are some significant differences that make these relationships more successful. I think the biggest thing in the black woman with a white man relationship is peace. That I think is the biggest thing when it comes to these relationships is white men who choose to date black women offer peace. And at the end of the day, women who want to be in healthy relationships or are in healthy relationships, the main things that we are looking for, the main things that they've said that have come from their partners is, I am so at peace. He creates safety for me. He creates a space for me to thrive. I feel like I can be myself. There is no competition. He sees me as a partner and an equal and not as somebody who is like, trying to beat him or XYZ. So I think that's a big thing. Also, they have the lowest divorce rates or one of the lowest divorce rates. White men with black women have some of the lowest divorce rates, and I think that is something to be said as well. Besides the fact that these men are usually emotionally intelligent, they've gone to therapy, they understand how to communicate, they understand how to build relationships with people. They are going outside of the societal norm instead of doing what they think they're supposed to be doing. And so if they are with a black woman because they really, really love her, he is following her heart and he's not just with her just because. Just have to throw in the caveat that this is not all of these relationships. Obviously, you're going to have shitty relationships where you have a white man with a black woman. Preface it because in the last video, everybody's like, not all relationships. Obviously, it's not all, but I'm talking in general here. A lot of these men are also very intentional when it comes to their dating. They're very intentional in choosing their partners. They're very intentional if they're dating outside of their race in understanding their partner's culture. They're understanding in all of it. And especially with the world we're living in with racism and all of that becoming a thing, they are making it point so that they can understand and be well equipped, woke, if you want to say, in just being able to understand so that they can help their partner then better thrive, together. At the end of the day, if you look at these men who are in relationships with their black women, their black queens as they call them, these men truly feel like they have won the lottery in love. Like if you look at my post here with all of the people posting their relationships, all of these men feel like they have won $1 million and the $1 million was the woman they were with because they're now a better man because of the woman they have standing beside her. And if you look, you could see it, you can see these relationships are thriving, they're happy, you can feel it. And I think there is that common denominator with men who choose to date outside their race. Again, I'm not talking about men who are fetishizing, I can't say the word, fetishizing black women. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about men who genuinely love their black women they're with. They love their partner. They are the love of their life. They could not imagine their life without her. These men genuinely feel like they have won the lottery in love. And they think they're stars every day. They would not have it any other way. They'd probably repeat life to have the same outcome. You can just see the way that these men talk about their partner, treat their partner, just so speak highly of her. He will do anything to make sure that she's happy. And I think that is the common denominator when it comes to looking at these relationships. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't find this in a black love relationship. You can absolutely find this in a black love relationship, but not historically speaking, but realizing the truth of what's coming to light now in present day and seeing that a lot of black men don't actually like women and a lot of black men don't like the women they're with and they don't know how to be a good partner and they don't know how to treat women in relationships. Why would women want to go to that when they could have the other side, living the soft life, living happy and thriving? So just a good conversation. But if anybody has been pondering why these are so successful, I think those are some really good points. If you guys have other thoughts on why you think these are so successful, drop them in the comments below. If you like all the positive dating content, make sure to give me a follow. Hi, my name is Keisha. I consider myself to be your dating tip bestie. I'm here to inspire women to never give up on love because I'm a lover girl at heart and every woman deserves to be in a happy, thriving relationship.
All right, this is a topic I have stayed away from, but I think it's time. And I'm not going to get deep into it, but I do want to say this. Black men in particular who say that they prefer white women, they prefer to date white women. It's not because they think we are more attractive, because let's be honest, we already know we're not. Like toe to toe, if you line up 10 white women and 10 black women, objectively speaking, you're going to find more genuine beauty, organic beauty in black women. It's not that these men think we are more attractive. It's that they know that we are not going to hold them accountable in the same way. When a black man starts listing off why he doesn't date black women, why he doesn't partner with a black woman, almost all of the time, it's the traits that have to do with them being firm and knowing who they are, knowing what they deserve, and holding these men accountable and holding them to task. A lot of times men decide that they want to venture away from dating black women because they do not want to be accountable. It's not because they find us more attractive. They want the easy way out. All right, this is a topic I have stayed away from, but I think...
Let's have a discussion about why black men only choose to date white women or white men. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I have been counseling men and women who have been victims and perpetrators of abuse for many years. Be sure to go back and watch this creator's video. She posted a lovely video. And in her video, she talks about why she's a white woman, and she talks about black men only choose to date white women because white women don't hold black men to the same standards that black women do. And that's pretty much the what she talks about in her video. Respectfully, I think it's a good video, but I think she missed the mark on this. And I'm going to tell you why. And again, no disrespect to this creator and no disrespect to anybody. I support interracial dating. If you like it, I love it. I'm not personally invested in whom anybody chooses to date or whom you choose to love. My role is to talk about abuse dynamics and where I see them. And so that's what I'm going to do here and why I believe black men choose to date white women. And again, you can have your preference, you can have your type, but I also don't think that dating white women is a preference, and I've gone into that in prior videos. Anyhow, so let's get into it. So the first reason I think that black men choose to date white women and choose to make a huge display of it, like what I talked about when I talked about the Kanye West song and all of this other kind of stuff, it is proximity to whiteness. So when a black man is wanting proximity to whiteness, and black men and black women do this, right? But it shows up differently based on gender. But when black men want proximity to whiteness, they choose to punch down on black women because there's really nobody else for them to punch down on, right? In terms of racial dominance, they do not have it. And so they're going to punch down on the weaker, what they view as a weaker person, which is black women. And so that's why when black men say that they don't date black women, there's usually a huge display of disrespect, right? It's not just something where they can sort of quietly date white women and say, I like white women, this and that. A lot of them, when they choose to date white women, they will also talk about, all of the negative attributes of black women. Black women are loud, black women are argumentative, black women are this and that. And they'll tell anybody who will listen, right? That's why they choose not to date black women. And meanwhile, this is the other thing that will tend to happen. Meanwhile, they will go out and date someone who is white and or Hispanic or Asian that has all of the very same attributes that they say that they hate in black women, and they call it spicy, they call it sassy, vibrant, all of these things in which they choose to describe it with a different terminology. But basically, you guys are being gaslit and told that it's something different when it's not. And so that's one thing where they will choose to, that's one way that they will choose to punch down. But one of the other things that they covet is they covet power when they walk into the room. They do not want to fight the struggles of, being black alone. They want preferential treatment at the restaurant. They don't want to get pulled over. They want to be able to get approved for housing loans and things like that. So you guys are being used to get a leg up in society. And so that's they would rather bypass hardships and fast track that, to get easy into society, get an easy ride in society, much more than what they would get if they're with a black counterpart. Number 3, it is a status symbol, and not in a good way. And no disrespect to anybody, but it's a status symbol, very much like, when I was younger, my brother used to, used to go to the store and he used to get the new Jordans, and I would go to the music store and I would wait in line. I waited in line to get the Snoop Dogg tape, and when you got those things, it was like, yes, I've got it, and you have friends come over and listen, that kind of stuff. Same thing. It's almost like the white women in their eyes is very much like my Snoop Dogg tape or those new Jordans. It is a sign that I have made it in society. I am no longer a broke Negro. I'm no longer a broke black man. I have acquired enough money or status or security in society that I don't have to eat a struggle meal or wear struggle clothes or things like that. Now I have my white woman, and that's a sign that I can, that I have power and I have status. So it's more like an advertisement, much like, I talked about attention and attraction and very much on my channel. So if I have a woman, I now have this attention to this person to show, like, look at me and look at what I've acquired. And I'm the man now because I have acquired this human asset. I hate to put it that way, but that's just kind of, how I see it. So, and the reason that I'm pointing this out, a lot of people talk about a preference and things like that. This is not necessarily a preference. A preference would be, I have an apple in one hand and an orange in another. I prefer to eat oranges when I'm presented with the two, but I will also eat an apple. That's what preferences are. Like, when given a choice between 2 options, I prefer this one, but I don't throw this one out. I don't throw this one in the trash. And so it's not a preference. It's something, you are someone that someone covets simply for power. And a lot of times, and there's a lot of, I won't get into the other aspects of that on here, culturally, because I don't know if you guys are ready to have conversations about that yet, quite simply. But, one of the things that let's just, for the sake of the argument, say that you are the preference, right? And that's fine and dandy. But even if you are the preference doesn't necessarily get treated well, meaning that, if you're with a partner who happens to be a black man and he is punching down on black women saying that we're this and saying that we're that, and he's talking all this trash, what in the world do you think he's going to do with you? He's not going to treat you like Princess Diana just because you're a white woman. Ultimately, you will be getting the abuse and the backlash too. So that's something that white women, or really any race of women, need to watch out for. If your partner is punching down on a particular race, it's only a matter of time before he turns back on you and bites you. And I want to also say that with this post, I'm talking about black men and white women. I also want to say that this applies to gay couples as well, because it also shows up in the gay community with black men and white men as well. So that very same phenomenon is crossing sexuality, sexual orientation. And so they're seeing it over there as well, where, these men are being sought after for certain things, even in that community. So, if you guys want to continue this discussion, I'm happy to do so. Like, comment, and share, and definitely give this a follow. And again, this is not meant to be disrespectful, but towards any race, ethnicity, love who you love. But this is just basically a conversation about a phenomenon that has been going on in our community for a while. Thanks for watching.
Black women, you are alone in a conference room. Who do you want to walk in? A white man or a white woman?
Please go watch that entire video for context before you respond to her question. She poses the question to black women: if you're going into a conference room, who would you want to meet? Who would you want to come through the door? A white man or a white woman? And she goes on to explain that in the comment section, black women unanimously said they want a white man. And then she went on to say how angry a lot of white women were with the responses of the black women. And just like how it's no different than the man versus bear conversation, how men get angry with women for choosing the bear. So there's similarities here to how white women behave towards black women, but I want us to stop grouping all white women. These types of white women have to be excluded because they're narcissistic. They behave the same way as narcissistic black men Okay, let's talk about it. Do you notice that narcissistic white women and narcissistic black men behave the same way? They're controlling, they constantly project, they're extremely entitled, and they're fucking delusional. You just read through the comment section. Okay, the man versus bear conversation, my observation of the black men who were attacking and they just had issues and problems with black women saying, I choose the bear every time. Now, I can't speak on the white men. I haven't, I've been seeing, where white women have the same issues with the white men who are narcissistic, but I can speak on the black men. That's how I am able to spot narcissistic black men in the comment section, because one of the qualities, I can name several qualities of a narcissist, a sociopath. Narcissistic black men are extremely controlling. They do not want you to have a mind of your own. They want to control your finances, your body, your mind, everything. They don't even know how to fucking scroll past a video without minding somebody else's business and jumping in the comment section and attacking. That is the personality disorder of a narcissist. So when the man versus bear conversation comes up, and I mean, all a black woman is doing is giving her opinion, why does that upset you so bad that she's not choosing you? You tell black women to choose better, but if we choose ourselves or anything outside of the black man, you attack her. It's insanity, okay? It's dysfunctional. And we see white women doing the same thing in this video that I tagged, okay? But I want to make sure that we're careful with our choice of words. Because from my experience as a survivor of domestic violence, I'm a domestic violence advocate. I'm pursuing a graduate degree in psychology. I'm an expert at narcissistic abuse. I know some amazing white women who side with black women, who will defend black women and understand, the things that we've gone through with black men who are abusive. So I refuse to group all white women in this category. Those specific white women that are pissed off at black women for choosing a white man, they're narcissists. Okay, those are pick-me's. They are entitled, coddled. Think of the slavery days, the slave master's white wife who was sneaking and fucking the black slaves behind his back. See, narcissistic white women and narcissistic black men, they behave the same exact way. The entitlement to control black women's thoughts and opinions, the lack of respect for boundaries and how a black woman feels. That's no different than a narcissistic black man. Start understanding the narcissistic personality and the behavioral traits. Do not group all white women together because they all don't behave that way. This was an excellent video. Y'all let me know what you think.
So as a queer woman myself, something I noticed is that a lot of queer women and men of color have a lot in common. So for thousands of years, queer women did not raise their children. Women of color raised queer women's children, even nursed their children. Which is why so many queer women have no maternal instinct and lack empathy and emotional intelligence and don't seem to really want to be bothered with their children and are not really nurturers, right? And it's another reason why so many queer people are drug addicts or homeless or messed up or have narcissistic mothers, and why society is doing the way it is. And it sounds a lot like someone else, who has no empathy or emotional intelligence, who's narcissistic and psychopathic and doesn't want to be bothered with their children and doesn't like raising their kids. But I digress. Queer women have a lot of Stockholm syndrome to queer men the same way men of color have a lot of Stockholm syndrome to queer men, right? And of course, queer women get queer privilege, which a lot of them know if they give it up, such as being woke or an N-word lover, or even going as far as having a biracial child with a clear womb that belongs to a clear man to reproduce for his race. She knows she's gonna have to pay the toll, and she will lose her privilege in society, right? If she goes against massa. And men of color really like having a proximity to clearness, right? Because they want to feel powerful. And a lot of them have Stockholm syndrome from buck breaking. And even back in slavery days, there was a lot of triangulation where some of the clear men and slave owners would treat different slaves differently. Like, say a slave was a good fighter, say a slave was a good singer, say certain slaves had different talents, they would be treated differently, right? And of course, above women of color, absolutely. You already know women of color were always at the bottom of the totem pole. So clear women and men of color were given these privileges that were slightly, above women of color, right? Which made them feel a little bit more important and superior, Even though women of color are the ones who are raising both of their fucking children for thousands of years, right? And it's funny how they try to paint women of color as the drug addict, ratchet mother, right? Who's the bad one who abuses her children, when it tends to be clear women, right? And how colonizers actually introduced child abuse to society in the first place, right? So it's a learned behavior by clear people. And it seems both clear women and men of color have no concern about anything but self.
And now y'all trying to stereotype all interracial couples because of what Kenny did. But
man, why are you projecting? You said black men tear down black women, which is not true. Black men are the only race of men on this cotton-picking planet who uplift y'all more than anybody. We call y'all queens. Despite y'all being insecure about y'all natural hair, we tell y'all how beautiful y'all look with y'all natural hair, which y'all do. We are very lenient on certain things when it comes down to y'all because we've been conditioned to culturally. Black men love y'all more than anybody on this face of earth. There are more black men married to black women than anybody. And there are more black women married to black men than anybody. Then, of course, you bring up colorism. People having a preference is not colorism. Now, don't get me wrong. Some black men are colorism. Same way, vice versa. I know where you're going with this whole conversation, the whole dark skin, light skin thing. Unfortunately, a lot of men, not just black men, have a lighter skin preference of women. Not being colorism though. Just cause the majority of men have a preference of lighter skinned women does not make them colorists. You do realize most dark skinned women, dark skinned black women at that, are more colorists than dark skinned black men. A lot of them deliberately have kids with lighter skinned men so their kids can come out light skinned. Y'all just give it a pass because it's black women. There are a significantly higher amount of black women who are colorists in the black community. Then y'all say y'all have it the worst of the worst, which y'all do, but y'all make it even worse on y'all self because y'all are the most disrespectful. And y'all are the most disrespected, but y'all don't even complain when it comes down to being the most disrespected. Y'all on the block and there's 100 niggas standing out there saying, look at all these hoes, referring to y'all, be okay women as hoes. Y'all don't say anything. Y'all dancing to a rap song that's degrading y'all in the lyrics. Y'all don't say anything. Smexy Red is encouraging y'all to degrade y'allself and disrespect yourself. Y'all don't say anything. Although y'all do get treated the worst out of the worst, but y'all contribute to it, ma'am.
Another hard conversation to have, but we have to have it because we don't do what's easy here. We do what's right. When it comes to the matter of interracial dating, the woman will always experience the majority of the racism as opposed to the man. It don't matter if she's a white woman. It don't matter if she's a black woman. It don't matter if she don't count as white or black. With so many things on this earth you can be as far as race and ethnicity, they always come for the woman. The man gets the high five. Think about what you see on a daily basis. If a black man dates a white woman, high five. White man dates a black woman, high five. If a white woman dates a black man, she get racism from both sides. If a black woman dates a white man, she get racism from both sides, and so on and so forth on down the line. And we need to talk about that. You know, you should be allowed to love whoever you love in 2025. But it's a shame in 2025, they keep coming for the woman. They don't ever say the man gets the high five. It all goes into, we still live in a society where women are seen as pawns. Women are seen as property. Women, it's a double standard. So if you date interracially or you plan to, nobody told any of us And I haven't done it since I was a teenager, and I had such a bad experience, I never did it again. So I told y'all I'm y'all big sister, y'all mama figure. If you plan to date outside your race, prepare yourself for racism, because you will face it if you're the woman. They won't say nothing to the man, but they gonna come at you. All right? Have a good support system. It's not fair. We know that. That's why we opening up the conversation. How many of y'all have a white mom and a black daddy, and your mama tell you she's experienced racism on both sides? How many of y'all have a black mom and a white daddy? Your mama's the one who experienced it. Your daddy might get a little bit, but he's a man. They're not going to say nothing to him. They always going to give it to your mama or your auntie or your grandma. We got to talk about that today.
I just wish we wouldn't give up on black men. And this is also coming from a woman that's not currently dating. But I could only see myself dating a black man. Let's keep it 100. Like, and don't get me wrong, I've been through a lot, you know, with dealing with black men too. Like, but at the same time, I feel like dating outside my race or dating a white man, it don't align with me.